I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, April the 22nd, brought to you in part by Noromycin by Norbrook. Noromycin 300 LA is your proven go-to antibiotic for seasonal diseases in cattle. It treats 33% more head per bottle than the 200 milligram per milliliter oxytetracycline injectables. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Contract Library Pilot Program. The USDA held a listening session on Thursday over this cattle contract library pilot program. There was a directive that came out that told USDA to do this. It's not a law. It is included in the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, and that we can make it a law, but that this is just kind of a pilot program testing type thing to see how it would work. So we actually don't have legislation to put this thing through, and it will likely just go away. But they held a listening session, and your corporate feeders got to put their 2 cents in why they're against it. Some of your Midwestern independent cattle feeders got to put in why they think it's important to have that so that they can have a level playing field to play or to do business actually. But you know, a lot of these custom cattle feeders, they need to know this information. They need to be able to see what kind of sweetheart deals are out there. The problem with this is your corporate feeders, which have the best formula deals, sweetheart deals, are basically partnered with the packers. They're not wanting to divulge any of that information. They're talking about that information being proprietary, and they don't want to divulge that. And then we're talking about confidentiality. Well, that was something through mandatory price reporting, was confidentiality, and the confidentiality was all to protect the packers' information, not your feeders' information. But now that we're talking about a cattle contract library, your corporate cattle feeders are saying, well, we should be protected through that confidentiality too. But in all likelihood, it's going to take a long time to get any type of a cattle contract library whittled on, worked upon to where anybody could get any use out of it. It's going to be a lot like our formulas reports that we get now through mandatory price reporting. They've got huge price spreads that encompass everything, and you really can't tell anything about it. Plus, a lot of your corporate feeders made it pretty evident during that listening session that they don't think the independent cattle feeders are smart enough to take that information and do anything with it anyway. They just don't understand really what's going on. But really, your only premium in your cattle feeding business is volume. And whenever you're feeding 1 million head of cattle like Five Rivers, or you're feeding, you know, 500,000 or 600,000 like most of your other corporate feeders, then that's your volume right there, and there you're going to get a premium, and you can pretty much dictate what kind of a sweetheart deal you want to make there. But it's a long time coming on that deal. If we get this Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act passed, then there will be legislation for that. At that point, then we can go in there and start working on that. And it's also going to be through mandatory price reporting, which comes up for reauthorization every 5 years. But it's likely going to be a long time before we get some type of a cattle contract library that we can really sink our teeth into and get some good from. But let's talk about your board on Thursday. April live cattle futures up $1.02 at 144.10. All of a sudden, these Chicago traders are thinking that we're going to run out of cattle, and we are going to run out of cattle. The problem is we've got a big hump to get through of market-ready cattle here, starting 3 weeks or a month out, and it'll take several months to get through those. But by the time we get to August, which normally sucks, it's going to start to get better at that point, because we didn't have any place to put those cattle through the winter. Those cattle went on feed. They were gaining 3 something instead of 1 or 2 something, and they got finished quicker. We put cattle through the system faster than anybody in the world. How about June live cattle futures up $1.27 at 139.90? Back months on your live cattle up 75 cents to up $1.42. April feeder cattle up 95 cents at 158.45. May was up 237 at 164.85. Back months on feeder cattle futures up $1.85 to up 297. And yes, your grains were lower, which enabled your feeder cattle to be higher. Corn was down 16.5 cents at 7.99 1/4. Corn market's not liking that moisture that they got up in the northern plains there. Beans up just 1.5 cents at 17.48 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 25.5 cents at 11.37 3/4 cents there at the end of regular trading. Fat cattle trade, we've had about 1,000 head trade negotiated already this week. Do not tell me that more negotiated trade doesn't bring about higher prices, and higher prices doesn't bring about more negotiated trade. That's the way that goes. People go after that when they're out there. And we've had progressively higher market every day this week. In Iowa, your live prices were steady to $2 higher than just Tuesday. So they just went out there and aggressively bidding on that. Does it have anything to do with the hearings that are coming out next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, the first in the Senate and then in the House? And then the Packers are actually supposed to be there. They've had an invitation from the House Representatives Ag Committee there for your Big Four Packers to send a representative to state their case on why they were gouging consumers during the pandemic, and why they've been making all-time record high prices, and the cattle feeders have not been making any kind of a measurement of that. So, let's see how that goes. Maybe that's why they were so aggressive this week. But Iowa had confirmed sales of 1,200 head, 23,700 head for the week. Live price 144 to 147. 145 was the highest we'd seen up until this. 230 dressed, which is the lower end of the market. Nebraska had only about 300 head, 34,300 head for the week. Live sales at 145. Dress sales from 230 to 238. 231 was the highest we had dressed last week, guys. Kansas, just 100 head, 21,700 head for the week. Few sales dressed at 230. Texas, 11,000 for the week, but no confirmed sales on Thursday. Their market was 140, and so was Kansas and the Southern Plains. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts up $1.35 at 270.17. Selects down 85 cents at 255.68. Choice select spread widening like it does late in the spring or early in the summer when the grilling demand gets really good, sitting at 14.5 now. Slaughter, we're catching up, but we're never going to make up for that disappointing Monday. 483,000 harvested up through Thursday. That's 15,000 less than last week, 4,000 more than the same week a year ago. Actual slaughter information come in for the week ending April the 9th. Had your average dressed steer carcass at 912 pounds. That's 3 pounds bigger than the last report. We'd been whittling on it pretty good, but guys are still making them big. After they start getting some of these closeouts with the cost of gains at $1.50 plus, likely not to keep those cattle till they're weighing 1,600 pounds. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Or actually, I want to tell you about a couple of sales that are coming up here. I'm coming to you from Gainesville, Texas. Got the Southern Reds Red Angus sale. They don't have a lot of bulls on there, and the bulls are really green. They haven't had a bite of feed on there, but they've got excellent genetics. Coming to you from Gainesville, Texas. That'll be at noon Central on Southern Red sale. Also on Friday is the X-Bar, proud to be an American replacement female sale there. They've got 700 3-year-old fall-bred cows on there and some excellent pairs on there, and that's coming to you from northeastern Oklahoma. Chris Steyerwalt does an excellent job with his sales there, and that's an interesting sale to get onto. Top genetics on that sale. On Monday, we got the Montgomery Stockyards board sale. First time they're ever going to have it available online or in video there, guys. It's going to be on DV Auction and that's a Montgomery Stockyards board sale. They got close to 100 loads of commercial feeder cattle to sell there, and interested, I'm going to be there on site for that sale on Monday. So I'm going to have a little get together there with some of the consigners on Sunday night. So looking forward to that there with Jerry Etheridge and my buddy Chuck Bradley. But let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Thursday, sitting at 156.55. That was 95 cents higher because the board's been friendly the last couple of days. Look at some of your big sales on Thursday. Winter Livestock, Pratt, Kansas, 5,700 head, $2 to $3 higher where it was tested there, but a pretty good sale in Pratt. But 5,700 head, that's as many as that they had at any of your big high volume Monday sales. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas had 4,500 head. Good sale for them. Feeders were steady to $5 higher. Now some of the calves and stockers were quite a bit lower, but you know, we've turned all the cattle out now. We don't have that demand right in that Flint Hill area anymore, but feeders steady to $5 higher. Look at this automated marker report from Salina, Kansas. Some of your best tested weights. Steers, 670 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 847 at 155.89 on all of them. 404 head of the 9-weight steers in Salina averaged 919 at 150.06. How about the heifers? 420 head of your 7-weight heifers averaged 743 at 147.63, and 377 head of your 8-weight heifers averaged 844 with a weighted average price on all of them of 141.04. Mitchell Livestock, Mitchell, South Dakota, 5,500 head there. Had a good sale also. The feeder steers were the best tested. They sold steady to $3 higher. They've got your top quote for the day here at the end of the report. How about Ogallala Livestock Auction? Ogallala, Nebraska had another special there. 5,200 head there. Look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central with DV Auction. Look at your best tested weights. 960 head of 6-weight steers in Ogallala averaged 658 with a weighted average price on all the 6-weight steers, not just those that had a stocker condition. All your 6-weight steers in Ogallala averaged 184.27. Wow. 538 head of 7-weight steers in Ogallala averaged 738 pounds at 171.61. Your heifers in Ogallala, 817 head of your 5-weight heifers averaged 550 with a weighted average price of 172.65. 677 head of your 6-weight heifers averaged 648 with a weighted average price of 164.06. Stick out deal, individual quote from Ogallala, Nebraska was 121 steers. That one deal averaged 764 pounds at $174. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday was out of Mitchell Livestock, Mitchell, South Dakota. It's your Rowgrow top quote for the day. 163 head, 849 pound steers, bring 164.60. That's your feeder flash for Friday.